I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
Can you see that front page?
We can, yes, thank you.
Okay, good stuff. So we white label for every client. Biggest client, and actually based not too far away from me, is FedEx. So we work with large-scale organisations, Southwest Water, Jones Lang LaSalle, Imperial Brands. As you can imagine, it's for tracking large portfolios of projects. So that's what we do. So cloud-based solution. So it would be rexel.programmexpress.co.uk. Every client has their own database. Lots of rigor in terms of security. It's in the Microsoft Azure cloud. Lots of rigor in terms of user access. And I'm going to log on as an administrator, and you can be an administrator or a write-only or a write access user or a read-only user.
Okay.
So this takes us into what we call the home screen of the solution, ProgrammExpress. And from here, what we can see is that from the home screen, I'll show you what these icons mean, is that we start to develop our portfolio and program. So this is just an example.
Yeah.
So we've got portfolio, then we open that up and it will show you the programs of activity. Open up supply chain, and it will show you some projects within supply chain, and carry on and open up. So you can go to as many sub-levels as you want in terms of portfolios, programs, projects, sub-projects, whatever you want to call them. And the whole idea is that data entry will be via these modules shown here as icons, but better described through here as more details about the project, commentary status, planning, resourcing, cost management, benefit realization, impact management, it's a bit change management-y, risks and logs, which you can configure within the admin screens. You've got lots of different ways to configure. It doesn't take more than two-hour sessions to configure it and make it local to yourself. You know, what does red mean? What does amber mean? What does green mean?
Okay.
You know, what are your status commentary threads? Achieve last period, focus for next period, or is it last week, next week? It's all of those types.
Yeah, we've got achieved this week, milestones for next week. Yeah, those kind of things.
Yeah. So so we will configure the commentary threads based on what you currently do or what you currently want to do. So I'm going to do it backwards because the power of ProgrammExpress is in the reporting really.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Data entry I will do after, but what I'm going to show you is why you'd have ProgrammExpress. So if I've got my project portfolio, and that's just a project name, and I've set up some reports from my reporting module and made them available on the home screen, because a lot of people might not go much further than have a look at the projects, have a look at their traffic light status, red, amber, green. Yeah. Everything, you know, the projects will aggregate up to the program level if it's planning information or cost information. So it'll, you know, we use auto rag for a lot of things. And what we can then do, if we know that people are updating into this solution, we've got real-time reporting. So we don't have to sort of like send out a template, fill in your status report, send it back, we'll update it on Excel, we'll then put it somewhere or we'll send it out. It's real time. So if everyone's putting the data in, if I run our sort of like bread and butter report, which is the RAG status report, so yeah. This would be like somebody consolidating onto an Excel spreadsheet. So what we have here is a RAG status report that I've just run from the top level, showing our projects, who the project manager is, some planning information, some cost information, some RAG dashboard information, and then the narratives of where are we with everything. So, you know, as a program manager myself, you know, this would be I'd use this as my project weekly review meeting. Let's look through them, red, amber, green, where are we with it, decisions and escalations, and almost that would be my agenda. What do we need to talk about? It's green, move on. I've seen the report, I can run it myself. It's red and I've got decisions to make. What do you need from me? So that would be a very standard RAG report. And then moving through, if I wanted to have a look at everyone's plan. So from the top level, and I can run the same report from any level. So that's, the report I've just run was at Rexel level, but it might be a group of supply chain projects.
Yeah.
I can run this report then. This is the oops, run the wrong report then. The report I ran before, I can just run exactly the same thing for just one specific program. In this case, supply chain, for example. But generally, I'll run them from the top level, and I'll have a look at the Gantt chart. Let's have a look at everybody's plan. So everybody is plugging a plan into ProgrammExpress. Again, I'll show you how they do that. And then we've got the programs and projects and the phases of the projects. Typical Gantt chart. Red means it's missed a day's date. Green means it's on track. I've got any examples of amber? Not sure I have. Well, I'll come back and give you an example of amber means it's forecasting to be later than it expected. So we've got baseline, original start and end. We've got current forecast or current start and end within there. So very simply, we get a view of everybody's plan and the health of that plan, and it will be auto ranked within the plan here to show the health of it. Or if I wanted to have a look at resources, let's have a look at resources. Now, again, this is not a deep dive resource management tool, but it's a resource forecasting. Let's have a look at the demand over the period. So I've got people, the projects they're working on, the number of days a week they're available to work on projects, and then you won't be able to see the numbers, but it's got days in a period, that's monthly, it could be weekly, that they are working on a project, and it shows you whether they go red, which means they're over allocated for that specific period. So I've got all my specific resources within there, and that's just one example of a resource usage report. Or if I want to go into my reports, because it's not being configured on the front screen, I can have a look at all my reports. I can preview what the type of report looks like. So I can see that's a RAG status report. I'm going to run a cost report, and I'm going to go to the settings, and I'm going to say I don't want detail, I just want one line per project, but I do want some actual information, and I'll create the budget report, which will show, put it up, which again will show all the projects and simply show you their budget in pound case, very high level, broken down by project, showing you the total planned revenue and capital. That's the budget for the year, total 16.15 million, 195, and here's the latest forecast, it's 18 million. Oh dear, that's not very healthy. We're 1.9 million over. And then it will show you the variances within here and where the problems are. And again, back into the cost modules, it will show up as a red if it's over forecast. So that will be a typical budget report, and we've been expecting the project managers to update and manage their budget. So there's a couple of examples of program reports, but then we might want to have a look at project reports, a bit more detail. One-page summary. So what I've got is I've now filtered by all active projects within the system, and it will now run a one-page summary for every active project. So I've got 14 projects here, and it's got the timeline, not the Gantt chart. It's got the narrative commentary threads, and then we move through. It's the same for the next project, then the next project, and then the next project. So again, from the top, just one click, and I'm producing the project report for the whole portfolio of the projects that I want. Another example, project overview report, more of a Prince 2 highlight report with more detail, more of a word style report, same projects, commentary plan, but we've got risks now, actions, issues, decisions, lessons learned, whatever we want to configure.
I like that report. That's really good. That is, yeah.
Yeah, and then again, we've now got 25 of these
projects.
So where the whole point of this is simple data entry in a consistent way, direct in. We're not sending anything out to people and asking them to send it back. And then once we've done that, we can just automatically start running reports. I might want to have a look at my red risks. So this would be the risk report would look like this. Risks across the top level, create. I can populate risks at portfolio and program level as well as project, but it will pull through in one report all the risks across all the projects. It's just demo data in there. But I might want to say, but I actually want the red risks. I want projects with a or risk with the rank status of red. I'm now filtering that. And therefore, I've now just produced the red risk report, which I do see as bread and butter. So it might be risks, it might be decisions, and it depends what you configure. We call them logs. But if you run logs, you can then, you have a screen where you can have a look at the data, the logs, and you can filter by log type. So I might want to have an issue log. I could have a lesson learned log, I could have an action log. But let's have an issue log. Looks the same as the risk log, but that's now your issue log. And again, I could filter that by red. I could run decisions and filter it by red. So very simple to run all of these reports. And also from the reports, what you can do is you can take a report, the saved reports, once I've changed my settings, these shared reports are what sits on the front screen. My reports are what I want to make it myself, but they don't get shared. And if I wanted to, I could take them, it's a URL. I could copy that URL and send it to people and say, you store that as your, bookmark it in your Google Chrome, and you can run it whenever you want. So you've got real-time reports that can run. So it doesn't take 2 weeks to get the latest reporting cycle out. It's there straight away. And what we're trying to encourage is that we're not having meetings where we're sharing project status, because people can run that themselves. What we're having meetings for is to look at exceptions, decisions, issues, risks, etc., over budget, those types of things.
Yeah.
So that's the, but of course we expect everybody to populate all of these fields. So now if I go in and log in as myself, as just a standard project manager, so many different views, but I'm not going to go through all of those. I'm now logging on as myself. It's that same home screen, but what it's showing me here is that I've just got 3 projects to update. I have actually got all the modules there, and I probably didn't mean to do that, because for a lot of people, and I'd be surprised if you're any different, you'll have some people who are experienced project managers who will be wanting to do issue and risk management, and you'll have business users running projects who you might just about get a status update and a plan out of them.
Oh, yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah, so what we're set up for that. So it might be through user roles. We're going back into being an administrator, back into users and roles. We've got users that can have different roles. You can be a business project manager that can only do a few things. So actually they can't update risks and they can't update logs, but they can do resourcing and planning. And then if you're an IT project manager, you could probably do a few more things, or a full-on project manager. Can't quite remember what I was. So if I go into the users, I will show that I am a program manager. Okay, well, let's be a project manager. I'm going to be a project manager, which means I can't do as much. So now when I go in, a project manager, actually that can do quite a lot. So I'll just filter that out a bit and say, well, I can do cost, plans, resources, can't do impacts, I can do risk logs, and I can upload documents. That's absolutely fine. But what it will demonstrate is that I don't have to see modules that I don't have to update. We're trying to simplify the UI from that point of view.
Yeah,
So back,
that's good.
yeah. So back in, I've only got 3 projects. I'm missing a couple of modules there now. That's what I was trying to show you. If I went in to the ProgrammExpress implementation, because that would be a project if you did it, I'd now move through the commentary. I can click on here, I can go through this way, I'll go through this way. Connection made, initial product demonstration, incorrect, 6th of May. In fact, I wouldn't normally do that actually, because I need an audit trail of changing things. So if I would have a new commentary thread and say that was the 6th of May, and what it will do is it will show everything, your latest thread at the top. So it says who said what when, so you've got a full audit trail, but an audit trail of everything I've said in terms of the ProgrammExpress implementation over a period of time. Back in to the commentary, hide the last 10 comments. What did I achieve last period? Demo took place on Friday the 6th. And focus for next period is establish if it meets the requirement, commercials and implementation planning. So that would be the project. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let me go to my plan. My plan says I've got a picture graph there of the plan, but here I've got the plan, and we're not Microsoft project. We can go to 2 levels, but you'll see that what we're trying to do here is just give the high level phases of the plan. What we'd need to do: initiate database, apart from the commercials, configure and load, train, set up the data, etc. It takes about a month to implement ProgrammExpress. Make my changes. I can do adjustments if I wanted to. I could say the date's changed. If I change that by a month to June the 6th, I could say apply that to all subsequent tasks and click OK. Now, what this will do, and save that, what this will do is it will drive a month delay. And that's when I show the Gantt chart. This will now show as amber if I run it, because what we're saying is that if I look in there, the plan date and the baseline and the forecast date are now different. So it's flagging that up to me. If I didn't want to do that, I could cancel it out. Yes, I'll cancel it out. Then I'll move through to my resourcing. And then how do I allocate a resource? You'll see all the resources. I want to add somebody. I want to add, oh, got Becky.
Too busy.
Yeah, that's you. I want you 2 days a week, please, running on whatever task you want, either the total project or the configuration and load. So it pre-populates the dates of that specific task. I've now added you. You're a resource now. But if I had a look in and said, let's look at that person, Charlie Wilson, we'll see there that they're working on other projects. So blue is they're working on this project, and that's fine. They're available 3 days a week, but oh dear, it's tracking them against all other projects. If you're a project manager, you can see that you've got a bit of a problem because they're actually busy elsewhere. As you're updating the the screen, you'd see that in the reports anyway. And then I've got some cost information, some very high level information. If I go to another project with a bit more detailed cost, fulfillment process review. Again, I've got a template of cost items, licenses, resourcing, whatever the baseline is, whatever the latest forecast is, and we've shown the report. And then move through to risks. Update your risks, please. You've got your red, amber, green, and your 1, 2, 3, and your likelihood and impact. You can change that to 0 to 5 if you want in the configuration. And then I'd go through to my logs and I'd update my issues, decisions, actions. I could filter if I just wanted it to be my action log. I could filter if I just wanted it to be my decision log. similar screen to the risk screen. So, 15 to 20 minutes, I've made my updates, everything's up to date. I could then, if I wanted to, I've set up my own reports. Let me see how it looks with the changes that I've made. I can just run this report myself. Yeah, okay, commentary's fine, plans a bit unhealthy, but it's right, etc., etc. So I can run my own reports and see what it looks like. So a very simple way of updating data. So it's a repository for entering data, and hopefully you'll see it being powerful in terms of how it reports out. I'm not showing you, it's Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, I know you're busy, and I'm trying to give you a flavour to see that whether it's got legs for the next phase.
Yeah, of course, Nick. No, that's great, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you can store documents in here. So let's say, for example, you have your project governance says that for certain types of projects, I need you to have filled in these forms, mandate forms, PIDs, those types of things. So what you can do at the top level is you can store documents like templates, business case, PID, small PID, make them visible to small, medium, large projects.
Right, that's good, because we've got a project delivery framework, and depending on the size of the project, we have specific documentation. So that's brilliant.
Yeah. So you decide as part of the configuration whether you call it, light and complex, small, medium, and large. You define what small, medium, and large is. But what it means is that if I'm a project manager, I can go to my documents, I can see what size of project I am, and that's just a commentary that we've specifically chosen. We're a large project.
Yeah.
A large project says, okay, what do I have to do then? Oh, I've got to fill in 2 forms. If the PMO said, well, actually, you're not a large project, we've decided that you're only a small project, then they will see just a small PID template, please. So it drives them to this, you don't have to send it via email to them, but B, it drives your methodology and says, I need for these types of projects, these types of reports. Then it acts as a repository, because what we're asking them to do then is to add that back in as a document and choose the file and load it in. So it acts as a document repository as well for the live documents, and you've got the templates which drives them to what is specifically required. So the other things now, I guess one question I've got in terms of your as PMO, one thing that we are not, and I said it before, is we're not trying to be Microsoft Project. So what we do is we say if project managers use Microsoft Project, carry on doing so, because we don't want to see your 1500 line project.
We don't use. I've got no desire to use Microsoft Project. For one, there's a license issue, which is a cost implication, and there are so many people within the business that haven't got access to the license that you then have to convert to PDF, and it's a pain. And Darran and I also use different templates, so I am I'm no way snobby about using Microsoft Project. I would like to get away from anything like that.
But some people might want to write a really in-depth project plan on their, because they're managing their project, which is fine.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to establish is that, this is more for high-level gate stage, stage gates of projects from initiate through to implement. And what you can create, again, configure by the administrators, and only they can see them, is what we call templates. So you can create whatever your template you want. But I've got a new project template, and what I'm saying is that, right, okay, every project will start with a discovery and it will end with an implementation or go live or whatever you want to call it. And what that means is that it allows us to set up a new project. Let's say in supply chain, go add, and I'll call it Rexel, new project, and I can automatically populate a new template, one that you've designed. So again, it sort of like meets your governance standards, which says, you know, I mandate that you provide me with this level of detail. And if I go to that project Rexel, I'm in demand planning, but I can again navigate down from the top right. It gives me a blank and say, right, fill it in, please. That's not rocket science, is it?
No, it's sort of a high level, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll fill it in, and then I won't fill it all in. But then you've sort of like started to get the bare bones of a plan, but using a template that you request of them. So it's more for people who try and do it on Excel. So, okay, with the discovery phase, you want more to add you more tasks in there. Well, that's fine. You can go to that level, indent like you can Microsoft Project, and you can add some subtasks.
That's good, and it's just simply set out, isn't it? I like the fact that you can keep it really tight. If we've got a project that's just sort of a simple data project, it's going to take probably less than 5 working days. You just want a high level, but it's great. You can add further detail if you want to. But I like the setup of that because what do you think, Darren? Because it's not too onerous, is it?
Yeah, I really like this.
It doesn't need to. I think with Microsoft projects, you've got so many options, you get blinded by how many options you have, which is why a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah, and we're a different solution to my, you know, because this is about, you know, total portfolio views really. But we get stuck, you know, we sometimes get stuck with people who are saying, well, I've got a Microsoft project plan, so I'm now duplicating. And I say, well, you're not duplicating because you don't put your Microsoft project plan on a PowerPoint slide when you're doing a project status update, do you? You know, you'll have a timeline view, or a high level view. So, you know, this replaces it from that point of view. Again, I can cancel out. I don't want to save that. But my point was there that you can go to another level and you can task plan, but you can also keep milestone plans. So within the reports, I can, if I want to, I've got a Gantt chart, and I can say, right, well, I won't have the detail. That means that I've got a report that says, I don't want your plan, actually, I want your start and end date for every project. So you'll see it's that type of view. That's one line per project. And then we can sort of like go further and further and say, well, I do want the detail, but I only want the key, you know, I only want the key tasks. I don't want the 15 detailed tasks that sit under your discovery phase. So I'll just have the key tasks. So you can have a duration of 2 years, 6 months. So loads of ways. Now, as you can see, that I've got lots of setting changes. I'm going to get sick of doing that all the time. So that's when you say, right, you know, we'll call that a template. And then we'll save that, and then it will sit in my reports as the Rexel plan. And if I wanted to share it on the front screen, I go shared, and that would become the template now, and you'd see it here on your shared reports. You'll now see one called Rexel plan, which means, okay, I made all the settings, I can just run it whenever I want now, or you could leave it in your own plan. So we tend to find that with the PMO, you'd have shared reports and say, this is what we've designed around our governance, and this should be at these governance meetings, the RAG status and the plan, or whatever it is. You can fill your boots and do your own reports if you want. So it's all we're trying to be now. One other thing before I stop boring you is that
you're not boring her.
You might have. Let me just. So I'm going to delete that Rexel project I've just set up. I'm just showing it. Quite simple to delete it. But you might have all of these projects sitting within a structure. But you might say, I want a top 10. So what you can do is you can set up a new portfolio. So let me set up a new portfolio called Becky and Darran. I don't want it to be a child of the portfolio. I want to sit it as a peer. I want it outside of the whole program structure. So I've now got a new portfolio, and I've now got a wiring view. And what this means is that I can start to move projects in that I want into a new portfolio, and then, you know, this you would do it for, like, the board want to see the top the top 10
Yeah,
or
that's
something
good.
like that.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
I save that, now I've wired that in. If I go back to my home screen, you'll see now that I've got those projects that I've wired in under Becky and Darran, and then I now run my RAG status report, and this is the RAG status report of just the wide projects in that you want. So you could have stakeholder projects, you could have whatever you want, whatever you want, as that's Becky and Darran's portfolio. So it's very simple, doesn't interfere with anything, doesn't duplicate, sits outside of the main tree.
Yeah.
Nobody else can see it because you've
No,
not.
that's good that you've got that option to pull different projects in. And personally speaking, we'd be doing a proof of value for IT. So we'd like to roll it out to IT, but we'd then eventually like to roll it out to the business. So how many people could we potentially roll this out to, Nick? We've got, I don't think it would be like hundreds of licenses, but potentially we could be looking up to 100 licenses, 150.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've got some clients with 400 or 500.
Oh, good. Okay. No, that's great. And
So
between your portfolio,
no restriction in terms of number of projects or.
brilliant. What about security between portfolios? So, I mean, I'm in IT, but there will be some strategic XCOM projects that only certain people will be aware of. Can you lock down between those programs and portfolios?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if somebody's got access to supply chain through user access settings to supply chain, it shows who's got access, whether they've got read or write access. Now, if you don't give them access to supply chain, they won't even see it. So let's say, for example, you've got highly sensitive projects, a portfolio of sensitive projects. They won't see that there's highly sensitive projects, office move to Dubai. They won't even see it. So, yeah. So in terms of user rigor, then there's no issue from that point of view. It filters out for those that don't have user access to it, and then it defines whether they have read or write access. And then you can go to another level within the project as to what they can update and what they can't update within the project. Can't update the baseline budget, can't update the baseline plan if you want to go to that level of rigor. So it's got all the rigor that you want, it's just whether you want to use it or not. Good question though. Yeah.
I mean, it's like Darren's feedback as well, but it is interesting from what you say. And as you're right, it is a PMO tool. It's not a project management tool, but that I also like. We work with a very lean team in these times, as every business does, and they want smaller overheads and to drive business and change and get financials in. But I sort of like the simplicity of the tool in the fact that it is very simple for the project lead to fill in whatever they need to fill in. I like the fact that you can adjust the amount of detail that they need to put in and sort of mandate that. And I just think it's simple to use, but it's giving you the information. It's giving me the information I need. And it is different, but I sort of quite like that. Do you get what I'm saying, Darran?
Yeah, I fully agree. I like the manipulation of what you can see and what you can't see, and what you present, which is really useful if you want to do for different purposes. Not everyone wants the same information, or different meetings. You don't want to have to just show, not just show just like that key bit information. And it's really good you can do that, and it's really easy. What you've shown us, it's just click and go. So I like that.
I think it's the less is more approach. I think people turn it into too much of a bureaucratic nightmare. And what we try and you can do that with this as well. So you need to control it and say, I want light, simple data across a lot, rather than lots of data. What tends to happen is that when people start off, they get overexcited and they put chapter and verse in their commentaries and they put big plans in and they put. Of course, come the next week when they've got to update, they're sick of it then because they've got to update on what they said the previous week. So light, snappy data. What did you achieve? What's your last week? What's your milestones for next week? All those types of things. I mean, a couple of little things. I mean, we've got a dashboard, so The dashboard now at the top level will show us the consolidated view of the projects, the ones that are red, where you've got late milestones, and then you've got reports. You say, well, actually, what, you know, it leads you to what's the reds then, you know, or what are the red risks? So actually, I can click here and I'll see what the red risks are. Click here to see the late milestones or the late risks, red risks, and then the late milestones. So those would be the red risks. So you can actually run some reports.
I like the fact you can sort of drill down into the detail and the dashboard as well. And it's giving you all you want, but it's not too much to look at, if you know what I mean.
No, exactly. I mean, and there are Becky and Darran, there are more modules that I could show you, but you know, I've got benefit realization. I'll show you them if you want.
Yeah, we do benefit realization, and also something we're not very good at, Nick, is change control within projects. And you said you got something that was kind of change control. I think it was in one of your drop downs. So benefits and change control is great. Okay,
so I mean, what we have, and again, it's not over engineered, but within our admin screen, part of the configuration is we say what logs do you want to have. So you've got actions, backlog, change requests, etc., scope change. And what that means is that when you go to the log screen, that means that you can choose any one of those options. So I could go to my fulfillment process review and I could start to track my, I'm calling it here scope change, you call it whatever you want. So if you add scope change there, I'll just put some right S's and T's within there. What it then means is that, you see that's within fulfillment process review. I can now go to my top level project, go to my reports. I can go to my logs, go to my settings. Again, you only want to do this once and you can save it, but I might want to have a look at scope change across, and it won't produce a lot, but hopefully it'll produce the S's and T's I put in for fulfillment process review just then. Yeah, so it's just the one. So now it's starting to show you there.
Yeah, right.
Process review has got a scope change because that's what I've just made. So very simple to configure and then very simple to populate from that point of view. Benefit realization is benefit realization works in this way. So this that's impact. So my benefits. We go into benefits. So here we can say why we're doing this piece of work: cut costs, improve sales, regulatory.
And can we add more options to that screen? Yes, Nick. So right, yeah, we've got a charter. We've got certain financial, non-financial, strategic alignment, things like that. So no, that's great that you can set all that. Brilliant. Okay.
You can say what the planned benefit you're trying to get is. So you know you're going to ask for £1 million because you're going to get £1.5 million a year recurring return. What did you plan? What's your latest forecast? When does the benefit kick in? What's the health of the benefit? Is it proven? Is it a one-off benefit or a recurring benefit? And then again, what we have within here is a report, and I could run report. I've gone in at fulfillment process review. I want to go in at my top level and look at my benefits. I can have benefits over a period of however many years I want. Let's say 4 years. I've got benefit types in there. When do I want to run it from? I can let's preview, see if it fits on a screen. No, it doesn't. So I can change my font size to small. Or if I change it to small, I might have a 5-year benefit case. I can preview it. Yeah, that all fits on create. So now I'm getting a consolidated view of benefits. So if I open that up, we can see all the projects.
Brilliant.
We can see what we're trying to achieve in terms of the benefits. what's a benefit type? What is it? What are we trying to do? Is it regulatory, or is it quality, or is it cost cutting? We can see the cost, the information, and then you've got your annualized benefit, and that's why we can have one-off or recurring benefits within there. That's a bit busy. A better report would be to remove the detail, i.e. for this report, I don't really want to see all the lines of data within each project. So what I'll get is a bit more of a succinct view of the benefits. So if I open that up, let's expand it a bit. So there you'll see the projects, and you'll see cost and benefit, and then you've got your tracking your benefit, and then it hasn't got much in terms of reg status, but you can have it within there. So again, really quite a simple view, high level benefits, and then within the admin screen, you can actually, if you've got sort of like strategic, if you've got a strategy broken down into, we are trying to be X, Y, and Z, then you can actually populate these within here, and you can align your benefits to that strategy, and you can run reports against what projects are for cost cutting, what projects are for regulatory activity, etc., etc.
Right.
And then one more, I'm not going to show you the deep dive, but impacts is really quite different. I don't think anybody else does this. This is really to tell the stakeholder what's affecting them. Now, if I show you the report, you'll see it's not a report by project, it's a report by business area.
Good, okay.
Now, what this will show you, again, you configure it in the background. You can say, right, okay, you can configure all your business areas, head office, finance, accounts payable, bank reconciliation, and it starts to tell you what projects are having an impact, what level of impact, red, amber, green, and when is the impact, a description of what that impact is. So Microsoft 365 rollout is happening, to the bank reconciliation team, rolling out a description of what it is. You align it to the phase of the project. You start to hotspot. So you'll see this department, this stakeholder can be told, they can have that as their report. The accounts payable manager in finance can see that there's business change activity and I'm being hit heavily here. Can we do something about the SAP upgrades? Can we move them out, or can we not have the Microsoft 365 roll out until September, October? So a completely different view of impacts of stakeholder impacts of the projects.
Yeah, it would be good actually, because as IT, we tend to get involved in not just the IT projects, but we end up with everybody's projects at one point or another. And so I think certainly our XCOM level, which is the senior leadership team level that my CIO's boss is on, they would benefit from something like that.
Yeah, they would. I'm just showing you the screen now. When you talk about it's just IT at the moment, and you wanted to roll it out, so you'd have a new role of marketing project manager, let's say, for example, and you'd say, well, actually, and they only want to use it for commentary and plan, and that means that when you add a user, you've now got a user, Rexel, and actually I just want them to be a marketing project manager, and then they'll only see those specific modules. So what we're trying to do, the point I'm trying to make here, is that for different levels of maturity, they're business people manage initiatives, and they don't really, necessarily think of themselves as project managers, but they are managing projects, aren't they? So it gives them the format to just work in project management ways in terms of planning and status reporting that they probably wouldn't normally do. So we can support to different levels of project maturity.
No, that's great. And as I say, we've the other people on Jevon's IT leadership team, they're great and they're very technical, but they'd be sort of quite happy to write their project documentation on the back of a fag packet, given half a chance. But this would give the project leads, as I say, they're already used to filling in project status reports. It's not so wordy that they've got a mountain of work to do. So I really like, from that point of view, where we've got the senior leadership team, project leads, it's not too much information to fill in, but it's giving us is exactly the information we require at a glance. So
yeah, and you have to manage that a little bit. You know, you have to give the feedback and say, don't give us too much information. Make solid as making life easy for them. Because the other thing is, they should be able to put this in once, and then you don't need PowerPoint slides for this meeting and that meeting. Get people used to the fact that they can get the information however they want using these reports. If there's a couple of reports that you really need, and as long as the data's in the system, then we can write new reports, and that's the only development we do. All our clients work across one version of the system. It's configured differently for different clients, but the version work. We don't customize and bespoke for different.
We can configure within our environment.
You can configure. Yes, it's your own database, and you can configure. And one thing that we do sometimes do is develop reports, because that doesn't interfere with the database. So if the data's in there, we can report against it. And what we can also do, and some clients do, is they'll say, well, we'll downstream this information down into our business intelligence tool. And so we could run a data export, and we could create that, and just create CSV files.
Right.
We can schedule them weekly, and we can send them on to the BI department, so they can download them into Power BI or Click or whatever Click reporting or whatever they're using. And then we can create all of that data as CSV files, commentary information, milestone information, etc., etc. So no excuses from that point of view. So yeah, and what sort of timescales are you working to in terms of wanting something?
So I'm contracting for a proof of value by the end of 2022. So we would be looking to that's a great demo, by the way. So what I would be looking, I definitely want to see you again, Nick. I would document my notes, because that's just me, and I would schedule demos with third parties, another follow-up. We're looking at early Q3, so I'm looking really at early sort of July to mid-August. I'd probably schedule another demo, but invite along my CIO, Darran, and the senior leadership team. There's 4 of the people. It's just mean they'd be able to go into the nitty-gritty of that. But yeah, I really like the simplicity of what you've shown me. We have seen many different things, but I think that'll be a benefit. My team will see that as a benefit and a win, to be perfectly honest. They sort of like, just give us information we require. We don't want to spend hours putting it in, and it's there. So yeah.
And to start off with, so we provide the solution by small up to 10 users, medium up to 50, and large up to 100 users, and then beyond. So I would expect you to say I'm in the medium camp to start off with, for sort of like 10 to 50, 20 to 30, maybe something like that.
Definitely, yeah. We've got no more than, I think we've only got about 40 people in the IT department, but all of those people wouldn't require the initial access anyway. We'd probably be saying, probably about 20, 25 max.
Yeah. Okay.
But then we'd look over then into, once we've gone through the contract stage and everything towards the end of the year, we would then go and look to implement that in IT, but then roll that out to different areas of the business as well. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to sort of like, do you want to talk about how much it is, or at this stage do you just want to decide who to shortlist, or do you want to give you a flavour of cost or not? No? Yeah,
no, to be honest, I've not sort of gone into that realm with anybody else yet.
Oh.
I'd like to sort of take the cost off the table for the time being.
Yeah.
I would like the IT leadership team to sort of see everybody, and then we can get costs in from everybody and just see what they think, because I would like them to see the simplicity of what you've shown me, just first of all.
Okay.
It's great if you're cheaper than everybody else, Nick. It's another tick in the box, but no, keep it simple for now. We'll obviously get your terms of support, service level agreements and stuff like that. But I really I like what I've seen.
Okay, that's lovely. So you think we might be shortlisted?
Well, absolutely. I'd like to see you again. So yeah, it's something I'm definitely interested in. So I'll document some notes over the next couple of weeks. I might reach out to you if I've got some gaps in knowledge and say, do you agree with this? I'll send it on to the IT leadership team, and I would be sending out invites early on, readiness for early July. But you'll certainly be getting something in the next few weeks. And if you haven't received anything, please reach out to me. But we will definitely want to see you again. Okay, lovely. Well, what I will do is, of course, I'll prepare the recording on YouTube, and I'll send that on to you. I might send you a couple of attachments like that, our information pack. Anything that you want to send as well, you can send, Nick.
I'll send you some more information. And obviously, if you want another 15-minute, 30, didn't quite understand this, did you do this? Brilliant. Just jump on, and if you want an informal 10, 15 minutes, just can you show me this again? Then obviously can do that. So I'll send you an email, and then we'll take it from there. Yeah, and I'll send you some more information. Thank you very much for your time. I've really enjoyed the demo. Thank you thank you for staying awake on a Friday afternoon. I really appreciate that. I tell you what, it's so nice to actually be met by somebody friendly, because everybody's frazzled by a Friday afternoon within the there. So they're either ready to strike you or bite you. So it's been a welcome interlude anyway. So thank you very much. Lovely to meet you, Nick. And thank you. Meet you both. Thank you very much for your time and taking an interest. Have a lovely weekend. And take you. Care. Bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye. See you, Darren. Bye.